When you hear reviewers and content creators talk about really high-end equipment, high-quality speakers, and how the fidelity is so amazing that it doesn't even sound like you're listening to what you're listening to. It sounds like what you're hearing is actually right there in the room with you. You don't really appreciate that, and you can't until you experience it for yourself. It's kind of like you don't know what you don't know. Well, I experienced it. The first Texas Audio Roundup, hosted by EMOTIVA and Skit Audio, was held this past weekend in Austin, Texas, and I had a chance to attend and meet some really cool people who are making some really awesome products in the AV world. And one of those people is Wendell Diller from Magnepan Incorporated. And props to Cynthia from the Audio Bell for recommending Magnepan to me to check them out at the show, and I'm really, really glad that I did. So thank you, Cynthia, and if you want to check out their channel, the Audio Bell, I'll leave a link in the description. When you hear reviewers and content creators talk about really high-end equipment, high-quality speakers, and how the fidelity is so amazing that it doesn't even sound like you're listening to what you're listening to. It sounds like what you're hearing is actually right there in the room with you. You don't really appreciate that, and you can't until you experience it for yourself. It's kind of like you don't know what you don't know. Well, I experienced it, and I got the chance to document it as well. Take it away, Wendell.
I'm Wendell with Magnepan. I've been doing this for 49 years. I'm 78 years old, and I still love it. It's like I have no intention of retiring, but I like sharing our new toys. This is the LRS Plus. You may have heard about the LRS. I mean, we were back ordered, I think, like 5 months, and we come out with a new model. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense from a sales standpoint, but it happens to be what I view it as a secret weapon that we can reach customers in market where we no longer have any distribution, because the loss of stereo stores, compared to the 1970s where we had stereo stores in every little town, it's not possible. Now we have millions of people that live too far and are not going to fight the traffic. I mean, the traffic coming down here on 35 is crazy. So this concept allows us to send this to a potential customer that would want to spend more than $9.95 a pair, for them to hear the capability of what their high-end electronics, what this product can do versus their $15,000 box speaker. So that's the whole purpose, and the reason we came to this show is because it's an unusual show in the sense that they invited a relatively small number of people with the expectation that you would get on the internet and in a democratic process review the show, the Texas Audio Roundup, but what you heard, what you didn't like, etc. All of that, positive and negative feedback has value to us. So Skit Audio told me about this, and I thought, hey, great, let's see what this is all about. So here we are. So this is what is the difference between, the most common question, what the LRS, this is the LRS Plus, what is it? It's a higher resolution version of the LRS, but its real intention is to expose or introduce the concept to customers that have higher end products that want to hear what they've heard about Magnepan, but they want to actually experience it. So I view it as a tool, as a way in this Amazon world, click and ship, where you can experience product. You're not going to spend $10,000, $20,000 on Magneplaners if you can't experience it. So this is got attributes that will challenge a $15,000 box speaker on certain things then I'm going to see if I can demonstrate that to you. So I've got a selection of cuts. By the way, most of this is, because it's a younger crowd, more younger than what I'm not accustomed to at audio shows. This, I've got a selection, most of it's pop tunes. That's hopefully something in here that you'll appreciate.
No problem.
Sticks and hay, we drifted from the shore. If I were blue, like
Okay.
That sounds amazing.
So,
That sounds like they're actually in the room.
in this hypothetical situation, you're that customer in Billings, Montana. I'm there with you in Zoom, and I got it set up, had you set it up so I could watch you. We could listen together. I need to observe you, and I noticed that female jazz singer or whatever, or Nora Jones. I noticed your body language, and I thought, okay, I'm going to find out. I have to ask, well, what did you think? And you indicate, well, yeah, there's some of that it's better than my $15,000 box speakers. Okay, now we're getting to the process. All right. So now you're interested more than just casual interest. You're getting a better idea. This LRS with your high-end electronics will show you some things of what Magnepan technology, what our high-end models can do. There's limitations to this speaker, but it shows you certain aspects that now I've got your interest. But you have an open floor plan. I've warned you in advance. The bass is going to be weak. Well, we now have another tool that we can use in this hypothetical situation. And one of the things that Glenn and I are doing on these tours is consumers don't know the difference between a conventional subwoofer and a dipole woofer. So it's an educational process, and so we're going to, again, this is all, you're going to report on this on your show coverage, but we're going to demonstrate what does it mean, what's a dipole woofer all about. So you're going to hear from a woofer, this would not work with a conventional subwoofer, you're going to hear imaging, sound stage, and wideband performance far beyond what is necessary for a woofer. I mean, I don't have hearing beyond, I could hear close to 20 kilohertz when I was young, and yet amplifiers might be designed to have bandwidth out to 100 kilohertz. Why? Well, you have to get into a lot of theory about amplifier design. This premise is that this woofer has ultra-wide band performance where it can reproduce an orchestra, it can cymbals, far beyond what is absolutely needed. So now I'm going to demonstrate this tool that I could hypothetically, I could send to you in Billings since you're becoming more interested. Now, you're going to have some skin in the game, but I think we've got something going here as a prospective customer for our higher-end models. So I might be tempted to work out an arrangement for you to hear what the Magnepan ultra-wideband base system can do. So I'm going to hook this up now. The first thing you're going to hear is the Japanese drums. I think they're called, what they call Kodo drums. They're huge. Did I pronounce that correctly? Kodo?
Yeah.
Kudo.
Yeah. So some of them is pronounced a little differently, but when you say it like that, everybody will understand.
How should it be pronounced?
Actually, I myself really just pronounce just like you say, because I'm not Japanese, but I heard both sides.
Kodo?
Yeah, Kodo.
Okay. I'm close.
Yes, very close.
Okay.
Huge.
Yeah, they're huge.
Yeah, very big ones. Yeah.
And they're used for what?
Traditionally, way back, war.
You probably, it's very common on the internet, I'll see somebody asking, I want to get the XYZ subwoofer with my magneplaners, and the comment, somebody might respond, no, that's too slow, it won't mate well. Well, what this demonstration indicates that it has no problem keeping up in the base region if it can reproduce high frequencies at that dynamic range and that level of accuracy. It has no problem keeping up and staying in perfect step with wherever it's sharing the base load with the magneplaner. So this frees us up in design concepts to, well, design different kinds of magneplaners or enhance the performance, take some of the load off of the magneplaner and share the load with something a woofer that's got that kind of speed and dynamic range. Now, this next cut is, I'm going to put a set of drums, a drum set in the room with us. I've seen on videos the drummer do a close-up, but my God, that guy doesn't have any hearing protection. This is dangerously loud. I'm going to plug my ears because your hearing is like shock absorbers. The more you beat on it, the quicker it wears out. And I've still got my hearing at 78, and I want to keep it. So you're welcomed, I mean, especially the higher frequencies when it plays the cymbals, it's loud. It's really loud. So the exposure will be short, but I want to show you that you can get the dynamic range of live drums. Okay, that's too loud. You should not expose yourself to those kind of levels for a lengthy period of time. But if it can reproduce cymbals, it can keep up with, there's no problem with speed, and there's no problem with dynamic range. It reproduces bass in the same way as our big panels do, but these are there's 16 woofers, total of 8 per side, which gives you your imaging. And it's got the dynamic range So you could put a big Class D amplifier on it. You could get incredible dynamic range. You take the load off the magneplaner, and wherever they share the load, they're perfectly in sync. So this is my other secret tool for this hypothetical customer in Billings, Montana, to show what all Magnepan, what can be accomplished with something that I can send through UPS. Now the next step is, okay, which model does he want to actually hear, and how do we go from there? But this is what I envision how we will cope with the Amazon world of click and ship. So you can actually experience what Magnepan has to offer.
On the base module you say, is it a cone base or is it Magnepan?
There's cone. There's high performance, very low mass, 16 total. So you get, they're operating dipole, which, what does that, maybe you understand what dipole, but a lot of customers don't understand, but they can experience what it means.
The demo you just played, does it even use the base management at all? Is that just...
No, you could, the DSP allows you to put them somewhere where they should, where they don't work best, and then with the DSP you can fix time, phase, amplitude.
Was this demo, was the DSP?
No.
Just
No.
what they hear?
Yeah, yeah.
All right. It's amazing. I haven't heard a lot of speakers in my life yet, but that's the clearest that I've ever heard. I mean, that bass, everything sounds like it's in the room.
Yeah.
It sounds like you're right there.
Yeah.
And you design all these speakers yourself?
Our team, I don't get into, what do I say? I don't want a personality cult. So,
it's a team.
Yeah,
Team effort. Okay.
right.
Now, as far as the placement of speakers and this kind of speakers at dipole, how, I guess it's very critical for the placement of the speakers already based on the room sizes and all that.
Well, the line source, there's a theoretical perfect spot in a room, and if we can go to a narrower panel, because it doesn't have to handle the bass, that gives us the option. It's easier to integrate into the room. I mean, Galena and I live in a little townhouse, and we could have the high-end models, but there's no place, especially on the left channel, there's no place where we can drop this woofer column into a spot and fix it with that DSP, and then we can, a 10 or 12 inch wide line source would fit where the 3.7, 20.7 is just, in the left channel, it just is not going to happen.
How far away from the back wall did you normally work with?
Well, theoretically, 10, 12 milliseconds or more is optimum. So the reflection comes delayed in time, so the brain understands that it's a reflection. So but some rooms, there's no way you can get 10 milliseconds delay in this room. It's a small little hotel room. So you do the best you can.
Okay. And those are the bass modules back there?
Yeah, there's one on each side.
What's the low end on that? How low does it go?
That's going to be room dependent. It's hard to give a specification because every room is different.
Okay. All right. Okay.
So the new stand looks like a stand is pretty, what before it was kind of a different type of a stand. I guess this is more like
Yeah, this is optional. It fits all the models up to the 1.7.
As you're getting a bigger size of the panel, obviously you need a big room to accommodate such a big speaker.
Right. Yeah.
So the benefit of it more dynamic is it more SPL level?
Well, it gives you everything better, but in practical terms, it's not the price, it's the size that it is our main problem. And this woofer concept, this dipole woofer, frees us up to design different models in the future that are more acceptable to small rooms.
Okay. You always
Well-
recommend stereo sub or the woofer thing?
Yes, yeah. That's going to work better. Well, thanks for being a part of our audience on this video. You're going to be rock stars.
That's right. Well, thank you very much for the very good demo. Thank you.
Yeah,
Okay.
thank you.
Okay, first, let me just say that an experience like that, watching it on YouTube just doesn't do the video justice. So I haven't been reviewing speakers that long, nor have I gotten to hear the plethora of speakers that other reviewers have. But the Magnepans that I heard were by far the best sounding speaker I have ever heard in my life by a mile and then some. And even though I had no idea what songs or artists he was playing, those speakers were so realistic sounding that I actually felt moved. I could feel the emotion in the song, in her voice, like the singer was right there in the room with me. And if you close your eyes, I don't think you would know any better. And that one track that he played with the taiko, hopefully I'm pronouncing that right, taiko. If you don't know what a taiko is, it's a huge Japanese drum that gets insanely loud. I'm sure you've seen it in movies at one time or another, but he played this track with the taiko, just that drum beat, and then the drum beat becomes multiple hits, and my goodness, the sheer bass you could feel. If I had to describe how it felt like what it would feel like to hit the drum myself and then feel the recoil of it reverberating through my body. So he also had these like tallish rectangle bass module things kind of hiding behind the speaker. Actually, I had no idea that they were even there. And then at one point, I don't remember if it was doing the drum demo or not, but he says, all right, I'm gonna play the same track again, but now I'm gonna activate the bass modules. And I'm like, you didn't have them on? Insane. That video does not do those speakers justice. But even watching the video when I got back home, and I'm sure even with YouTube's compression, it still sounds super clear. Mind you, the only audio that was recording was a wireless, yes, wireless, DD clip-on mic that Wendell was wearing that I had him put on, and he was sitting about 10 to 15 feet away from those speakers. That was the first time that I have ever felt a speaker more than I've heard it. So Wendell Diller is the guy's name. Go check out his speakers on magnepan.com, and I'll post a link in the description. And with that in mind, the query of the week is, have you ever heard any speakers from Magnepan? If you have, I'd love to know what your experience was, because it gave me goosebumps. All right, guys, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. It was a little bit lengthy, but it was an experience that I've never had the chance to experience before. And I wanted to share it with you guys. And I know some of you guys out there, you like your 2-channel and you're all about the 2-channel. And you probably may have heard of Magnepan before. So again, go ahead and let me know in the comments what you think about Magnepan, and if you've heard anything in your experience that you feel was just the greatest thing ever. Go ahead and let me know in the comments. As always, guys, no matter where you're at on your home theater journey, make sure you enjoy it. For Haterade Cowboy Cinema, I'm Haterade Cowboy, and I'll see you guys in the next video.